Hello friends and welcome into the 49ers Report. I am Tom Downey and we got some breaking news for you 49ers fans out there. The rumors about the Niners adding a wide receiver, well, they were true. They've gone out and they have added Emmanuel Sanders from the Denver Broncos. Here are the trade details. The 49ers, they are giving up a 2023 and a 2024. They are getting back Sanders and a 2020 fifth-round pick. So in total, 3 picks are involved. Denver gets the 2 earliest ones. The Niners get that 5th-round pick and Emmanuel Sanders. I'll make note, by the way, here, that 3rd-round pick, it's going to be a late 3rd-round pick. Of course, that means the 4th-round pick is going to be a late 4th. And that 5th, it's actually going to be fairly early, I believe, in the NFL draft. So in reality, think about it this way. I know it says 3rd and a 4th. You can approach it as the Niners have added Emmanuel Sanders for at least 1 year, for a 3rd-round pick, which I think is proper value for him, and they've traded down 10, 15 spots from round 4 to round 5. That's hardly anything there. That's about a 3rd-round pick for Anderson. I think is about right there. More than what Demaryius Thomas went for last year at the trade deadline. So grade the trade for me, everybody in the comments section. For the Niners, of course. Is this an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F? What grade are you giving this one here? I like this move a lot for San Francisco. They're certainly paying a premium, but as we'll get to later on, maybe it's actually not that expensive relative to other trades. So I think at worst, I'm giving it a B, but in reality, I got an A for this one. I am a huge fan of what Emmanuel Sanders brings to San Francisco and brings to this offense. Look, it just makes sense. He's a great fit in the 49ers scheme here. Well, again, the details here. Niners, they're getting a 5th-round pick, plus Sanders, of course, and then shipping out a 3rd and a 4th-round pick. Now, Denver, it makes sense for them to be shopping receivers and shopping veterans like Emmanuel Sanders. I think we see Chris Harris dealt in the near future as well. So for San Francisco here, getting that addition makes perfect sense. And we'll get to another notes here on the Emmanuel Sanders side of things in terms of what he's doing in terms of money side of it on this player card. He is going to count $10.25 million in terms of overall cap hit. The problem is, at least the nice side here, that's his base salary. The Niners do not have to pay all of that. They only have to pay the amount of games they have left in the year. It's all based out across the normal 17-week salary. So it's not quite the even numbers here, but just for simple math, cut that in half. That's about what San Francisco is going to own or is going to have to pay Emmanuel Sanders for the rest of this year. I think that's fairly cheap enough, right? What I think is a legitimate number 1 receiver. Maybe the numbers aren't that great in Denver because Joe Flacco sucks. But in San Francisco, now all of a sudden, you've got a pretty good receiving corps. Of course, you've got George Kittle, who is your true number 1 guy because he's a freak athlete and I love him. Sanders becomes your number 1. Goodwin's your deep threat. Deebo Samuel gets to be demoted, quote unquote, to like that number 2, number 3 receiver type of role there. Makes life easier on him. You don't have to pressure Dante Pettis as much. Richie James is still on that roster. Kendrick Bourne is there. And then, oh, by the way, we will list Jordan Matthews on here. I fully anticipate that Jordan Matthews is waived by the San Francisco 49ers. There's really no need for him to be on the roster. I think they let him go, and instead they roll with Sanders, and they roll with Pettis, and they roll with Goodwin and Bourne still on the roster, Richie James, and of course Deebo Samuel. That's your top 6 at receiver. There's no need for a guy like Jordan Matthews anymore. So for Sanders coming in, there will have to be a roster move. It could be injury-related if they want to put somebody on IR, but I think it makes way more sense. You have 7 receivers right now. You might get Jalen Hurd back off of IR, although at this point, maybe you just let him sit there for the rest of the season. And at that point, you waive Jordan Matthews, and you are fine. Again, the base salary is $10.25 for Sanders, but they'll be okay. They don't have to panic and be like, oh, it's so much money. It's only going to be, and I'm rounding, I know, but it's math, makes it easier there. Rounding it down, only about half that. All right, folks, if you like breaking news here on the 49ers, then subscribe. Link is below, youtube.com/49erstv. But you're watching on YouTube right now, so just hit that big red button and subscribe. We got you covered. Me, my boy Thomas Mott, on all things 49ers for you. Hit that button, and we got you covered on the Niners as they've made a big move to go out and add Emmanuel Sanders, who was, of course, with the Denver Broncos. Here are his numbers so far for Denver. 30 receptions, 367 yards and 2 scores. There have been some minor injury issues, but even when Sanders gets banged up, well, he's fine. He's able to stay out there and be healthy and get going, and everything ends up being fine for Emmanuel Sanders. So I am not overly concerned about the history of Sanders' injuries. And I think in San Francisco, they don't need to throw it a ton. Jimmy Garroppolo has not aired it out a bunch this year, but the results have been good when they've had to throw it. Toss out last week against the Redskins. The passing game doesn't count. Like, there was no rain. It was a disaster. It's not a big deal. So for Sanders, maybe the numbers don't go up in terms of volume, but efficiency, what he brings, it's a big, big get for San Francisco. Speaking of big gets, how about the My TV Choice app? Instead of god-awful commercials during Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football and all that, that free phone football commercial, trash. I hate it. Worst commercial ever invented. Instead of getting that, download the My TV Choice app, hook it up to your smart TV, and when commercials come on, the app will send awesome videos to your TV instead. For example, like ones from us here at Chat Sports. Yeah, pretty great, right? Go download it today. It's free, by the way. Free to download. chatsports.com/mytv. Now, I mentioned this earlier, how, wow, a third and a fourth is a lot. Remember, the New England Patriots gave up a late second-round pick, in all likelihood, for Mohamed Sanu. Now, I was surprised by that. I did not anticipate that Mohamed Sanu was going to go for a second-round pick. That's a lot. I think Emmanuel Sanders, even though he has one less year left on his contract, I think Sanders is a better receiver than Mohamed Sanu is. Now, I was not aware of this until early this morning when I saw one of the local Denver reporters tweet it out. An odd and unusual quirk of the NFL CBA is that Denver was not going to be able to get such a high draft pick. Emmanuel Sanders has 10 years of accrued service time in the NFL. So what that means is Denver, as weird as this sounds, the best they could have done is a 5th-round pick in the compensatory draft process. So that actually, I think, did bring down the asking price for Sanders. Now, even with that in mind, I think it's a good trade for San Francisco. It's a 3rd for Sanders. Demaryius Thomas went for a 4th last year. Heck, better yet, Golden Tate, Emmanuel Sanders. I think it's pretty even. I actually went for Emmanuel Sanders. It was for a 3rd-round pick there as well. So in the comments section, let me know, who do you guys think won this trade? Give me a 4 for the 49ers. I suspect I'm going to see quite a few 4s in there. And then give me a B for the Denver Broncos. I don't think Denver lost this trade by any means. I think they actually got pretty good value overall for a player that was not going to be on the roster next year. They get a 3rd and a 4th this year, move up in round 4 from round 5. That's good. But I think for the Niners, you are all in on right now. You have a really promising young core. You can afford Emmanuel Sanders, and the production speaks for itself. Look at what Sanders has done the past 4 years. 2015, awesome numbers, almost 80 receptions, over 1,000 yards, a couple of touchdowns. 2017, a bit of an injury-plagued year, and also, this is when Denver's quarterback issues started to rear their ugly head in a bad way. 47 for 55 and 2. Last year, 71 for 868 and 4 touchdowns. I think that's a reasonable expectation, of course, balanced out to the rest of the games left for San Francisco for Sanders this year. He becomes the number 1 guy once he gets up to speed. And the thing I like most about Emmanuel Sanders, he is almost scheme-proof, if that makes sense, in the sense that he fits any scheme. Route runners who get open and are good athletes, those guys have long NFL careers, especially when they stay healthy. Well, guess what Emmanuel Sanders does? He will be the Niners' new number 1 wideout. There was a while ago, a couple years ago, when they were both on Denver, Sanders and Demaryius Thomas, where I felt like I was alone on an island claiming that Emmanuel Sanders was better than Demaryius Thomas. Now I think we're all on board with it just because DT's older and isn't as productive. Makes sense for Denver to sell. I like the trade a lot, though, for San Francisco. Again, I'll remind everybody here. The 3rd and the 4th is noteworthy, but that 5th-round pick, that's not going to be that far behind that 4th-round pick. So in reality, it's a 3rd-round pick, and you trade down a dozen spots from round 4 to round 5, 2 dozen spots. Not very much there at most in the end between those trade values. So it's a 3rd-round pick and a trade down. I like that move a lot for San Francisco. So everyone in the comments, let me know, what is your 3-word reaction to this 49ers trade? Let me know. It could be less than 3 if it's awesome or great. I got one for you, though, and it's okay. You guys can say it now. This is a safe space on the 49ers channel. How about Super Bowl bound? Just a thought.